Now I can hear you. Everything's just great.
Google tells me that there are 2 unread emails in my inbox. There are not. I can't. I've selected everything and marked them all as read. It doesn't, like, it won't go away. So that's,
Yeah. Oh, man. Dialing in from the UK for This Old House, episode 15, where Brad puts an extension on his home. That would be... I've never poured concrete, but, let's go for it.
See, that's one thing I have done.
I've never done it. I should say I've never done it like I've put concrete in a hole to put a post in it, but that's as far as I've gone.
Yeah. No, I did concrete construction the summer after high school.
Sounds like a volunteer to come help me pour a foundation.
It was grueling work. It really was.
Is that a no?
I haven't done it since. I mean, other than the occasional fence
How much
pole,
could it have
like
changed?
Right. Well, actually, I don't think it has changed. I actually worked for this guy who did this really innovative thing with concrete. Like, he created something called foam form. So instead of pouring like concrete blocks, it's just styrofoam, and you connect them with metal pieces.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff before.
Yeah. So he invented this, and in Canada, and he. But when I did this work, it was in New Mexico, and out there, everything's got that kind of Spanish style, like like you see in the Old West or whatever. So you could use a knife and just like cut it into these shapes. So one of the things I built was like a wall around a horse farm, and it had that kind of adobe looking. Because you would cover it in, I don't know what they called it, like
stucco or something.
Something like stucco. It was like a mud mix, whatever. It looked like it was classic, really nice.
The more you know. All right, here we go. I let that one ride for a second.
I just read a comment on the site, and it's like, Jesus.
Well, at least we're live on the internet doing what we do best, which is...
Is this what we do best? Because we're screwed. If this is the high point for us.
This is peak. We're done. Oh, a couple of interesting things. One comes from our very own Mahedi. He released a little drawing game. Actually, I played it with him yesterday, and then we found some bugs. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I don't know. They're all days, whatever at this point. And if you haven't looked at it yet, where's the actual? It's called Social Distance Drawing, and you can just you can draw things, and if your lines get too close, then it just deletes everything, and then you kind of vote on winners. It's a neat little thing. Like, if you're bored, go check it out.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Mahedi made it, so he did that instead of writing blog posts for us. But we're not going to hold.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I didn't mind that at all.
The other thing that happened today is Facebook continuing its warpath of ruining everything I like. Has purchased Jiffy, which Jiffy in itself probably isn't a thing, but it's like that most people know about, but it's embedded everywhere, like Twitter. I don't know if Teams uses it, but uses some aspect of it. And apparently hosting other people's GIFs is now worth $400 million. And I regret things I didn't do about 10 years ago, including hosting other people's GIFs. So.
Yeah, I actually did pause for a second to silently think to myself that I've created this career for myself where I have to get up every day and write. I have to get up every day and write. And I have to get up every day and write. I have to get up every day and write. Like, I can't stop. And these guys created a business where they let other people create the content and they just provide it to others. So it sounds like a set it and forget it kind of business to me.
The guy probably running it didn't even know. He's like, "Is that thing still running?" Like, just
Yep. Yeah, it's like a Windows home server in the closet.
Yeah.
So I guess we all do things differently. Yeah. Just
Yeah, and then Facebook's going to buy that for $400 million. I'm curious if anybody's now going to dump that, including Twitter, since that's sort of like their opposite thing. And now
I
they're
know.
this is,
Maybe Facebook could buy Windows and put us all out of our misery.
well, I was thinking we need to start our own website called Jiffy, but with a J instead of a G, and then we can cash out here in the near future.
Jiffy with a J. I think that's a peanut butter brand.
But, well, instead of
No,
I want to see if it's even taken.
Jiphy.
It's
It's
got to
be,
be.
dude. Of course it is.
Nope.
Are you serious?
Well, somebody's parked it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Questions about this domain, get in touch. So if we had enough
Twitter
dollars,
should get in touch and give them $1 million.
Yep. Then you could be the Jiffy. Although that one could potentially have some like trademark issues. I guess Jif the brand could come after you, maybe.
Well, I don't know. PH. And if you were specifically doing this for GIFs, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants to float us about $1 million. Let me clear that check, and then maybe I'll buy that domain with
We
your
are
money.
interested in a new business model.
Yes.
We want the set it and forget it business model. I want to be drinking on the beach with Brad, not having to show up every day and do podcasts.
Yes, that would be. I mean, we'll podcast from the beach if that makes that first check easier. Like we're not above that.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, of course.
We're not above it. And then obviously the big thing on the agenda is the thing that's not happening today, but happening Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Monday because we're so used to having it on Monday, which is Build. And a bunch of those sessions are now live, and then they've already deleted some of them because they were embargoed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yikes. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, they posted them, and then they accidentally
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
unposted them.
Yeah, so they mentioned something called Reunion, which I thought was interesting. They didn't explain what it was.
Yeah, and then there was another one about some app delivery stuff that was Walking Cat grabbed it, and then it's like, oh, and he's like, oh, they just removed it. Whoops.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I wonder if anything I linked to was removed. I bet it was.
Potentially.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, look, Build is what it's been for the past several years now. It's a show that's about Azure, and the stuff that I care about is Windows, and there will be some Windows.
There will be some stuff. There's actually, I can't remember what's on there and not on there, but there will be some Windows stuff. Although if you go look at the session list and you search for 10x, you are going to just grab a beer before you do that.
Well, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, right? We don't. Yeah. So actually, the ones. Wait, let me look one more. Oops. The 4 kind of sub-sessions that I linked to are all still there. So community stand-up with Kevin Gallo about Windows. Everything you need to know about Windows UI, WinUI. Sorry. A couple of focus groups about modern app developer experience and cross-platform native app development, and then a Q&A with the Microsoft 365 team that does the React Native stuff. But let's see. No, they left up all the stuff I linked to. So. Oh, except did they? I think they might have edited the description. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So
it's all.
This is what I care.
Yeah. And anyway, so all that stuff will be live on Tuesday, and they're going to be streaming that. And here's some fun things. I promise you, I'm not making this up. I promise. Some of the streaming sessions are already booked. Like you can't join them.
Yeah. And by the way, what the frick is that? No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the idea is that there's supposed to be interactive sessions, which is fine. Fine. You have interactive sessions. You want to limit it to whatever people. Fine. Let the streaming people just watch the streaming side. Just don't let them in the chat room or wherever.
If only we had the technology.
Yeah.
You could take this terrible shitburger that is this coronavirus thing and turn it into something okay by doing what you just described. But instead, you've opened up Build to everyone. It sounds great. Everyone can attend now. And I guess you didn't move quick enough there. That's disappointing. I hope they this time. I hope they fix that.
I mean, you will be able to go back and watch the sessions. At least,
of course,
that's what they're supposed to do, unless they do like what they did 2 years ago, where they recorded a Surface session about some of the development in early days, and then they wanted to share that again later. But I'm not bitter about that one.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So we got Build next week. There wasn't a whole lot going on this week for obvious reasons because of what's going on with the builders. I will tell you, Paul. I will tell you, I woke up to a lot of disappointment today. More so than usual. I mean, I wake up.
I was going to say, imagine how your wife must feel. But go on.
It wasn't going that far. Anyways, so the golf game, which I was really amped about yesterday, and
Right.
I told this to
Is
Paul.
that thing I sent to you?
Yeah.
So you already knew this by
I'm
that
already
point.
well. I knew like
Okay.
I don't know, half hour or whatever before you sent it to me because I actually got to
Yeah.
see it. I'm actually really angry about it now. All they did, all they
Sorry.
did was they took a game from 2017 called the Golf Club 2, which I've already purchased and I played, and it's not that good. And all they did was they changed some of the names of the characters to like real people. So
Right.
like they effectively went out to the licensing bucket and said, PGA Tour, give us some stuff. And then they rebranded it under the 2K sort of sports like banner because people recognize that, and then put some courses that you'll recognize on there, but they didn't change anything else. At least the graphics like look like they're no joke from like 2014. Like it looks bad. So
Yeah, that's too bad. I saw it and I thought, oh, this might have been what you were talking about.
yep.
Hopefully this will be of interest, but I haven't done it in a while, but golf video games are usually pretty good.
I still
You know.
Tiger Wood, the peak golf game I think was 2012
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. I believe. I think that's the version I'm thinking of. Played hundreds of hours into that game.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see how this disaster turns out. But the graphics don't look great, and it's a golf game, so they should be good because it's not like there's a lot going on. It's kind of like Forza, right? Forza games
Right.
always look great because they only need to render like a postage stamp size thing. Golf's sort of the same way, but so we got that. Oh yeah, Sony had their earnings too, which
Their electronic stuff is in trouble right now,
Yeah.
but obviously hope springs eternal. There's a PlayStation 5 coming. You probably haven't heard about it, but
no. Is it
If you haven't
really?
done it,
Is it-
by
I
the
thought it was PSS. I thought that's
yeah,
what it was.
yes, that's exactly. Have you watched that Unreal Engine demo? It's like a walkthrough of what it looks like on PS5.
I saw some of it actually. It looked pretty good.
Make sure you watch. Yeah, watch it. It's actually pretty incredible. It looks amazing. So that's that's they're in the I don't remember when this was last year. Probably they had surpassed peak PlayStation 4, right? So the sales started going down, and the sales this past quarter were about half what they were a year ago in the same quarter. So
Yep.
it's on the way up. But we're still we're talking about something that has sold like 110 million units. I mean,
Right.
it's incredibly popular, incredibly successful. So that's just where they are. And then they have other issues around their displays, TVs, the phones. So they have lots of businesses. This might be we're going to see a culling, not just at Sony. I mean,
Yeah, across the
probably
industry.
a lot of yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like there's just a glut of everybody goes and buys the same Snapdragon chip. Everybody goes and gets vaguely similar RAM. The only differentiating feature on phones really anymore is the camera and if the screen like teardrops or not. Like they're all kind of the same.
I switched back to the Pixel 4 sometime in the last week. I don't remember, and it was really seamless. Like just popped a SIM in, all the settings are still there, and whatever. So it was just really easy. And it's honestly, it's a really boring phone. Like there's nothing special about it, other than when I go out in the world and take pictures. Like the pictures are fantastic. Like I really like the camera, but as far as like the design of it and the stupid top bezel, and it's like there's just nothing. It doesn't really do anything for me. But it's like, does that matter? I don't even. What's the difference? I don't even know.
They're just phones. I mean, they're all
I know.
right. It's all running the same OS. It's all running. There's. I don't want to say there's no innovation because that's probably not fair to some people who are really doing great work on the camera stuff, like the night shot and all that good stuff.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, the majority of the innovation is taking place today in the cameras, and that is interesting. That is the story for the Pixel 4, the thing they screwed up. And that guy who I recommended watching that part of the Pixel event keynote where it's the camera guy. I don't remember his name. I apologize, but he's awesome. And by the way, he's gone. He left the company. He kind of poo-pooed the need for ultra wide angle lens, which is exactly what this phone needs. The stuff they're doing around digital hybrid zoom is fantastic. The picture quality is unbelievable. Computational photography, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Speaking of, okay, so I'm gonna walk into this topic delicately. I know. I do have three things I want to discuss. And one is actually this. I'm thinking about writing a book about Pixel.
A book.
And I would, yeah. And if I do, it would be sort of like the Surface book you wrote, right?
Uh-huh.
Except I really don't have anything in the way of insider sources.
Yeah.
So this is the big issue. This would be the one stumbling block. I do think this is an interesting story.
Yeah.
And I think I would call it Pixel Imperfect. The story of how Google, blah, 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 whatever they did, bungled the, whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I've been gathering some information to see if this makes any sense. So anyway, if anyone has any thoughts on that, if you think it's worth it.
Yeah. I would. Well, I just bought a book for my summer reading. The Instagram book, The Inside. Sarah Fryer. I can't remember her last name. She was, I believe, a Bloomberg reporter.
Yeah. Okay.
She wrote a book just basically, I believe it's like, it's how they built Instagram. And so last summer I read the iPhone book. This summer I'm going to read that book.
Good.
So yeah, so I mean, I have interest in that kind of stuff. But
Excuse me. I read a Samsung book recently that was written by a guy who was a real insider with Samsung. And that is a very strange company. It's a giant conglomerate that does a lot more than phones. I mean, it's crazy what they're into. It is run by a family.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. There was news headlines about that recently.
There's all kinds of corruption and craziness going on there, and you would think this book would be really interesting. And I got to tell you, it kind of wasn't. You know, I was very interested in the phone stuff and in some of the drama or whatever. But I just, it's one of those books like I saw it and I thought this is going to be great because I can recommend this to others. Maybe I'll review it or something. And as I was reading it, I was like, like that iPhone book you were talking about was good. You know. Like a lot of these industry books can be pretty good, but this one, I think it might be called Samsung Rising or something like, I don't remember, but it's not, it didn't really do it for me.
Yeah. The Pixel story got some drama back and forth too, because they effectively absorbed HTC or whatever their phone was, right? There's been a lot of,
there's all kinds of stuff here. They purchased Motorola. Remember?
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I know. I mean, there's a whole thing that goes through this, and I it's a very interesting. To me, it's interesting. I'm interested in this. But, they used to do the Nexus stuff. I don't. The whole thing to me is interesting. I just don't know if it's. I don't know. It's just it'd be a short thing. It'd be. I'm not talking about like 1,000-page tome or anything. Yeah. But I would like to. I don't know. I think it's an. I don't. I think there's a potential. I don't want to call it a need. But,
yeah, no. Just I mean, that's what the Surface book is that I wrote. It's just documenting the journey from nothing to whatever they are.
Yep. And there's not enough of that kind of stuff.
Nope, there really isn't.
Yeah. So anyway, just a thought.
There is a BlackBerry one out there too that I almost bought last summer and I kind of forgot about it, and maybe I'll read that this summer too.
Yeah, I have probably read the book you're referring to. I've read at least one book about BlackBerry. There's an excellent book that was written by the founder or co-founder. I think his name's Rod Cannon of Compaq, which that story is the basis for the first season of Halt and Catch Fire. They changed it, so it was a different company, but it takes place in Texas, et cetera, et cetera. That book is amazing. And one of the little insider tidbits that's in there is about how Compaq actually created this thing that Microsoft later incorporated into Windows. And I don't want to give it away, but it's worth reading just for this part of it. It's fascinating. That's a good book.
Yeah, we should start a book club.
Yep.
Hopefully Tina's not listening, because that'll be like tomorrow's topic. Like, we're going to start a book club. No.
As our words turn into strategy and additional responsibility and weekly meetings. Yeah. Paul and Brad start. Yeah.
Not from a beach, because nobody's donated yet $1 million for our Jiffy.com experiment. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
Okay, so I had two other things I want to bring up, if you don't mind. One was this issue I've had with my computer this week. Computers, I should say, the Nux, right?
Yep.
I got an email yesterday. I should look this. I should be better about this. Someone emailed me, and it jump-started an idea in my head. Let me look him up, because it's wrong that I haven't done this. Bill Ronsley wrote me, and he said, hey, sometimes when you have problems with a PC like that, it can only be fixed by clearing the BIOS, UEFI, CMOS memory. And in the old days, and you could still do this today, actually, one of the ways you could do this is there's a little watch battery in the computer somewhere, and you unplug that, it resets everything, and you put it back on, and then you have to go from scratch. You could do that with the NUC. It's actually really hard to get to that thing. I tried. I failed. But in looking through the Intel support documentation, it turns out if you hold in the power button for 3 to 5 seconds while plugging in the power, it actually goes into, it does the same thing. It puts, and then it gives you a menu and you can put everything back to defaults. And it worked. And I got to tell you, and then someone else, I should say, Ron Harding, also wrote me about this after I fixed it. He didn't know that because I haven't mentioned it. But this is really weird. I can't tell you how many freaking problems I have with this thing. This thing came up the first try. Everything worked. Sound worked. Everything's fine. It works as if nothing was ever wrong. Like it's better, you know, like when the last time I brought it up, it was kind of screwed up with the sound.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In Device Manager, there's a unknown device. It's called detection verification.
Mm-hmm.
You can look this up. It's related to the sound thing. If I fix that, I think the sound's going to stop working. It's a Realtek thing, and you know that reboot loop I was stuck in. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just not going to fix it.
I mean, you sound fine, and like
no, the sound works fine. Everything's fine. Like it's fine. I'm not going to touch it. It's better than fine. It's perfect. Like it's the way it should be. So anyway, thank you to the people who wrote me. And if I don't know, I was going to write something about it. I'm not really sure what to say other than what I just said. So there's that. But I have another idea for something I might want to do. And I was going to gauge the interest in this other topic as well. This would be for the site. I'm thinking about writing a series of articles about making a Hackintosh, right? Which is a Mac system, but running on your PC. And I think I'm going to do it to the previous NUC, the one that is the 8th gen. You know, it's not that old. It's like a year and a half old or something. Because that one has some problems that I can't quite figure out. This is the one where it won't go into power management correctly and the windows all scrunch up. You know, that's the other one. And I'm thinking, you know, like a Mac Mini. I don't know if you've ever priced a Mac Mini. They're really expensive now.
Oh, sure,
you know?
For what you get.
There are obviously some legal concerns here, which is one of the things that, one of the reasons I'm kind of hesitant about this. But I notice publications like Macworld have written how-to guides to doing this. And I don't know. It's a gray area for sure. Maybe I should say it's a gray area at best. But technically, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to link to any way of downloading a free copy of Mac OS, for example. Like all of the guides I've seen have said if you have to have a Mac because you get it for free with that. And I do have a Mac. I could do that. I'm thinking about it. Anyway, I guess for the Pixel Imperfect thing and the Hackintosh thing, you know, let me know if you think those are worth doing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they both sound good to me. As long as I don't have to do anything, that works out well.
Well, I mean, the alternative is like it's sort of Linux on this thing, and I got to tell you how excited I am about that.
No, I think
3 words or less.
I think Mac OS at least is something, right? It's something to play with.
Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, the reason I would want to do it in a way, other than just the technical challenge, is at some point I'm going to do something developer related that I want to write this thing out to an iPhone, and that could be Xamarin Forums, it might be Flutter, it might be whatever, but you have to have a Mac, and it's a weird limitation, but you know, that's Apple for you. So I don't know, might be interesting for that reason.
Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get that thing up and running, and it's going to be running great, we'll just say, in like 3 weeks.
Right.
And then they're going to announce they're moving everything to ARM, and then your whole thing is just not going to work anymore.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing this on purpose, just to help move it along.
Falling on the sword for one of us. I appreciate that, Paul. That's very noble of you.
Actually, I'm sorry. We should discuss one more topic, because this has amazed me how many people have. Actually, let's do 2 more. Sorry. Before I get to the last one, we changed the site so that we don't have up and down votes, right? So instead, what we have is a heart, which is a like, which is an upvote. If you like a comment, you can like it. And if you don't, you can just shut the hell up. Because there has been way too much negativity around bizarre downvoting. Someone could say something completely innocuous, like the sky is blue, I love my wife, you know, whatever. And down, you know, people are just, I don't know what's going on. And you would think, especially given what's going on in the world. But anyway, we fixed that. So I assume there won't be any complaints, but if there are, just downvote it. Anyway, the final one is, It came out this week. I don't remember. I don't even know how this was discovered, but Microsoft changed a support document to note that they will not be providing Windows 10 version 2004 to PC makers in 32-bit form.
Oh, really?
And yeah. Now, there are probably, I don't want to say there are literally no PC makers shipping 32-bit PCs, but there are almost literally no PC makers shipping 32-bit PCs. If you could find such a device out in the world, it's probably a Chinese company or something.
I was going to say it's some sort of knockoff or something like that. I bet is running it, but that's about it.
So Microsoft will continue to offer 32 and 64-bit versions of Windows if you download it, however you get it. If you're on the Insider program or whatever it is. That's not changing. They have not discussed when that will change. But if you think about it, I mean, we're going to get to the point where Windows itself will no longer support 32-bit chipsets or whatever. I mean, it's inevitable. In fact, it's probably already true in some cases. And maybe at that point, they will just stop building the 32-bit version, So it's not a big deal. But a lot of people, these are the two things I've heard or I've seen that people have kind of misunderstood. One is that this is related to Win32, right? So they're finally killing Win32. No, that's not what that means. The Win32 is 64-bit. So they, for a little while, they actually had a Win64, but then they realized it's really just the same thing. No one has to know. They just kept Win32. So Win32 is just a brand. You don't have to worry about that. And the other one was just a misunderstanding. Well, what if I have a 32-bit whatever and I want to upgrade or whatever, and it's not going to impact you. This is literally you go into a store, go to Amazon.com or wherever you go, buy a new computer. That computer is 64-bit. They all are, right? I mean, basically. So if not literally, probably literally. So it doesn't really impact anybody. That's all.
Good to know.
Look at me with topics.
I know. I
know. I don't know what's going on.
Let out of my rocker here. Maybe this is Paul turning
Paul's like really. He's like tuned in today. What's going on?
Like you. Maybe he's turned the COVID corner. Like he's coming back around.
No, I have definitely not done that. But
that's just weekly.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. It's just stuff that just came up this week.
No, I mean it's good, right? That's what the podcast is for. It's to maybe we've made a career, as we always say, shooting from the hip. Why make it any different today?
Yep.
So we'll see what happens this weekend. I'd like to blow this whole machine away.
This machine, you mean?
The one we're podcasting from right now. Mostly because I've screwed it all up because I have like OBS installed, I have XSplit installed, I have like 7 different audio apps installed that I've used and not used because this was the box that we used to figure all this out on. And since I'm...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, you remind me, in my cellar in a box somewhere, there is a HP Tower computer that I was using in my cellar back in Dedham when I was doing the podcast down there. And it's probably... At the time, it was like one of those high-performance type computers, but today it's probably pathetic and sad and really out of date. And might be one of those things that will soon no longer be supported by Windows. But this is a tower computer and blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that we had gotten for it was I don't know what you call it. It's like an AV card of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
That connected to that camera, right? Which is also down in the cellar in a box.
Blackmagic card is what it's called.
Okay. So, So I was wondering... And by wondering, I mean, for the last 17 seconds, this has been going through my brain. I wonder if there would be a way to connect that camera to a computer just through USB. Like there must be a something box, like a, what am I looking for?
It's just I believe HDMI converter box. Blackmagic actually sells one, and I had one at one point, but it just didn't work all that well. The problem we were running into, and the reason why I think we stopped, was that there was a latency issue, where it wasn't much, but on this type of a setup, a half a second really kind of screws things up, and I believe that's why we didn't do it. And we went with the built-in card, so there was no conversion process.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like on a modern computer, you could have a Thunderbolt or a USB-C, something that would... I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure you can. Elgato sells USB converter thing. It's probably the exact same thing. There's a way to do it. I mean, let me put it that way. It just depends how much time you want to invest trying to figure out a more complex solution than just the regular old webcam.
Yeah, I'm already bored of this. So I don't... It will probably just stay in the box. Yeah.
But anyway, so I'd like to blow this one away. We'll see if I get to it or not. And if the podcast doesn't work on Monday, we'll all know why.
I mean, I spent all day yesterday on this computer. I was after our meeting because that guy had emailed me, and I was like, "This is the last. If this doesn't work, I'm tossing it. Like this thing's dead." But it worked. It's like I said, it's fine. Like it's weird. Like it's suspiciously fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it'll all come crashing down at a very vulnerable time in the near future.
Well, I mean, like you, I mean, I install stuff on it all the time, like an idiot. I'm always testing things, and then I'm sure that contributes to it. But I just had never experienced. Well, it's been a long time since I've experienced this kind of a failure. It was very strange.
Yeah, and so I want to just clean this machine up, and then getting that Stream Deck thing, which is going to require new software and get everything rigged back up.
Yeah, so you want to do that on a clean install, and when does that arrive?
I think it's supposed to arrive Monday. I haven't checked. Okay, but
so you got to wait.
Well, it's going to take a while to get the PC torn down and then rebuilt.
Yep.
So
you're going to like physically clean it and.
Yeah, and I also want to put more storage in it because there's not enough storage. Realistically, I got to wipe our old videos relatively frequently, and there's just a lot, just maintenance of a podcast box is just something too. And then like these scenes that we go through, they're called scenes. It's a garbage. Like I have like 73 of them. They're not, because we do so many different podcasts and all that stuff. I'm going to remap them. And the other challenge is there's only 9 keys here, or whatever, how many keys. The other one I think it's coming has like 70 or something. And so I can hopefully, this is what it's going to sound
you'll
like.
have like little grids for each show. And
and on paper, it sounds great. I can get everything organized, nice and neat, and give it like 3 months to be like, this thing's a piece of shit. Just because it all goes to hell as usual. So,
I know the feeling.
What I was trying to preempt everybody is that if the show sucks Monday, that's the official.
Well, like reason. I keep saying, you get what you pay for. I mean,
you showed up, you donated some time to whatever this thing is. So I'm gonna go finish this. It's supposed to start raining, so I like ran and cut my grass real early. Not even early. I mean, like 11 o'clock. I was going to do
80 degrees out here, dude.
Dude, that's another reason. It's 74 right now.
Yeah.
And
it was 69, 68, something like that when I woke up. Like, what?
Yeah. Today's the first day I've taken like an allergy pill this season because I woke up and I was just like.
I had to close all the windows and doors. I'm like, we're going to have to put the AC on today. It's actually going to be hot.
Yep. No, if my wife doesn't even have to finish the sentence. She's like, hey, you want to turn the... I'm like, yeah. That baby's brand new, and we are going to get her...
You're like, actually, I've been running it in my room for the past 2 hours. But yeah, I'll turn it on.
Whatever makes you feel better. All right. Later.
Have a good one.